Hey guys, this is the third analysis. We're going to go over a Latin tune called Little Boat. Super nice, catchy tune, totally awesome. If I were you, I would check it out. So we've already, this is a little bit easier than the last two we did. I kind of regret doing it third, but you should have the hang of it now. So if I were you, I would try to do this one first. The main things I've been trying to get across to you guys so far are the idea of tritone substitutions, okay, which again means that any 5 chord or any dominant chord can be moved a tritone away. So, for example, G flat 7, that could be moved away. A tritone away from G flat, if you use the keyboard and count 6 steps, would be C natural. So this could be C7 and still work. This E7, a tritone away from E is going to be B flat, so you could have B flat 7 there, okay? That's one thing I've tried to get across to you guys. The second thing is the 2-5-1 progression is freaking everywhere. Okay, so what that means is that you have a chord that's a target. Okay, so the target could be G major right there, and what that means is that it could be preceded by 2 and 5. So in the key of G, I've got all my numbers right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which means I have a 2 chord and a 5 chord. So I would have A minor 7 going to D7, finally getting to G major 7. The thing I want you to also know about 2-5-1s, guys, is that they can kind of happen anywhere, okay? So you could treat your 4 chord as the target and have that be a 2-5-1, but the 1 is actually kind of like 4, okay? So I'll play this as an example for you. So if I'm in the key of G, right, here's my G chord. Here's my 4 chord. I can just go from one to the other and it's fine. Okay? But what I can do is that if I know I'm going to go to the 4 chord, I can make it interesting, and I can put a 2-5-1 going to the 4 chord. So my 4 chord is this, and I'm going to put a 2 chord before that. So if my 4 chord is C, the key is C, 2 would be D minor, and then 5 would be G7. So I'm still going to go to my 4 chord, guys. But instead of going right there, I'm going to do a 2-5-1 right before it. So let's hear what that sounds. Here it comes. See, I'm still on my 4 chord, right? But I did this fancy way of getting there. And it sounds nice. It doesn't sound bad at all, okay? So the third thing I'm trying to get you guys to understand is that these 2-5-1 things can happen everywhere. So the easiest way to identify them is if if you see a minor 7 chord going to a dominant 7th chord, or like a dominant 7 flat 9 or whatever, and it's a 4th away, as in like E going up to A, or C going up to F, or B going up to E, or whatever. If you see any of those things, it's probably a 2-5 going to some kind of 1, okay? That being said, let's start to analyze my little boat. Okay, first thing I'm going to check, key signature. See 1 sharp, that's G major, or it's E minor, okay? Looking down at the piece, let's see what it ends on. It does not end on E minor. I don't see an E minor at all. And my G is back here. And we know that we can't really check the last measure of pieces sometimes, because usually the last measure of the piece is just a setup chord to transition back into the first chord. So it's not really going to help us that much. So it looks like we are in the key of G major, at least for now, right? So the same thing in ornithology. So key of G major, I'm going to put a big old G right here in colon. Major 1 chord. So I'm playing the key of G, 1 sharp, no problem at all. D flat minor 7 going to G flat 7. Neither of those notes are in the key of G, right? Here's my key of G notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't have any D flats. We don't have any G flats. Something weird is happening, okay? We also know that this is minor 7 and this is dominant 7. So perhaps this is a 2-5, okay? Let's see if it makes sense. D flat going up a 4th is in fact G flat, so we would be in the key of C flat here. So this is a 2-5 of C flat, and then this is the same thing right here. Do we go to C flat? If we look down here, no, we don't. We go to F. So we're doing the setup to transition to a key that we don't even go to. That's kind of weird. We'll come back to that later. So we're in the key of F now, I think. Sounds like we're in the key of F, so I'm going to put a giant F right here. So now I'm going from 1 sharp to 1 flat, not a big deal. In the key of F, I have F, G, A, B flat, C, D, and E. And now I am seeing a E natural and a B natural. That's weird, so something else is going on here. But it's going from a minor 7th chord to a dominant 7th chord, so perhaps it's a 2-5-1 again, just like it was before. Let's look at the melody. Look at the next line. So if the melody is the same thing but in a different key, most likely the chord progression is the same thing but in a different key. So we have a 2-5 again, right? But this time it's going to what? If B is 2 and E is 5, we are in the key of A major here. A major, that looks bad. Let's do it over here. A major, okay? Let's see if we go to A in the 3rd line. Nope, we go into E flat. So we have a setup for a key that we didn't go to. Kind of sounds weird. Anywhere in the key of E flat, we have 1 chord, 1 chord. I'm looking at the melody. It's the same thing again. We have the same thing here with these chord changes, and it's a 2-5. Now to G. Thank God. Okay, right? 2-5 of G. And let's see if I actually go to G. Oh, would you look at that? We finally went to G. We're back in the key of G. We have 1 chord. E7 is our 6th chord. It should be E minor 7, right, diatonically, but one of our rules from the analysis notes page is that we can substitute dominant 7th chords anywhere. Okay, like if you stack the notes in the key of G major starting on E, you would have an E minor 7 chord, but dominant 7th chords could do what they want. They could put that there. A minor is our 2 chord. That's good to go. That's great. And then D7 is our 5 chord, okay? So now let's go back and try to figure out what was going on with this weird stuff. Why do we have these 2-5-1s that don't actually go to 1, and then we never actually go to 1 at all, okay? Let's see if there's any relationship between the starting chord in the next measure and the chord that we were going to. Okay? So we have C flat and F. Give me like 2 minutes. Going to F. And here we have A going to E flat, okay? Let's just, for the sake of it, just see what it looks like on the keyboard. Okay, so, come on. No, that's not it. Okay, so we said E flat to A. You can't see, I can't write on this, guys, sorry, but put your finger on E flat right now. E flat, I'm going to go up by 6 notes. E is 1, F is 2, F sharp is 3, G is 4, G sharp is 5, A is 6. It's a tritone away. So, and if we did the same thing with the other one, we'd find that the keys that they're going to on this measure here and this measure here are a tritone away from what they're happening. So our tritone substitution rule is only supposed to work with dominant 7th chords, and it's supposed to mean that whatever our 5 chord is can just be moved a tritone away. So this D7 could in fact be like A flat 7, and this E7 right here could be in fact E flat 7, right? But they're making the song and they're doing that with the 1 chord. They're moving the 1 chord a tritone away. Let's just see what that sounds like, okay? So I'm gonna do this first 2 lines. Here's G major 7. Here's D flat. Here's F. Okay? Doesn't really sound that bad. I'm gonna do it now, and instead of going to this F right here, I'm gonna go to C flat instead, which is what the chord progression kind of assumes it's going to. So check this out. Here we go. That sounds fine. Let's hear it one more time with the F and see if it makes any more sense. I'm gonna do it a little bit higher to make it clear. Here's F. Here's the B minor 7. Here's E flat. See how it does kind of work. And then we're back at home. So as you can see, guys, the more of these analyses that we do, the more fancy and complicated the rules can be, and the more liberties you can take by using them, okay? So in this piece, we learned that, the regular tritone substitution is when you take our 5 chord or our dominant chord and we move it a tritone away, and it just has this like eerily kind of pretty sound that still happens to work, right? But what they did in this piece, these composers, who can't really see what it says up there, but they did that rule with the major 7 chord instead. They did that with the 1 chord, and you get this kind of unique modulation that like works and doesn't work at the same time, but it's just really cool. Okay. So again, guys, what I want you to understand by doing all this stuff together is I want you to understand all the rules and how people come up with songs, so that you can take things that you already know or already know how to play and then mess with them and apply these rules and see if you can come up with your own unique chord progression or your own unique melody to figure it out and create something special. Okay. So again, if any of this was hard, make sure you're pausing the video when things get complicated. Make sure you're reading those 2 or 3 pages of analysis notes. I can't stress that enough, guys. And just take it slow. So to do a really quick recap on this, the scales you would need to play this song really well are G major, C flat major, good luck with that, F major, what was the other one? A major, right? Yeah, A major, E flat major, and that's it. So guys, this song has 5 freaking keys in it, okay? 1 sharp, 7 flats, 1 flat, 3 sharps, 3 flats. You know, this one you really have to know your instrument well. You have to be able to play in all 5 of these keys and be able to switch on command to them at the right time and blah, blah. And it's a hard tune. It's definitely harder than Ornithology, and it's definitely harder than Blind Funny Valentine.